In this episode, Kate and David get together to talk about some of their favorite side quests from one of their favorite Zelda games.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Another Zelda Podcast. I am Kate May, one of your hosts, and I am here with, the other host, which is Dave Geisler. How are you, Dave?
I'm well, Kate. Katie. Is your name Kate?
It's just Kate.
It's not Catherine, Katie?
No,
I can't
it's
believe I
Kate
never knew.
May. It's the shortest name ever of all existence,
Kate
almost.
May. That's
Yep.
good. It's good. Well, Kate.
How you doing?
I took the Katie out. Clever that was. I'm well. I'm doing good. I am excited for this episode. I'm excited for the next episode. We're recording on a weeknight, which we don't normally do. I've got a good energy tonight. I'm ready to talk about this stuff.
It was a beautiful day today. We have like a different setup going on right now. We are actually in a different room of my house than we normally record in.
We're in, could you say, your husband's music studio?
Yeah.
Because this is awesome in here. There are guitars all over the place. Our Magical Sword people can see some stuff, but I don't know if they see all the instruments that are over here.
Yeah, guitar pedals.
This is the kind of room where I
instruments.
feel like you don't trip and fall because thousands of dollars go down the tank if they get broken. This seems like there's a lot of cool stuff. We got a piano back here behind the camera.
Very precarious. But yes, normally we are in my dining room, but I have a new puppy. Well, not new so much anymore. I got her in June. It is now October, but she, gets to run around this way. You might hear her jingling or barking in the background.
Yeah. There might be a bark here and there. We'll take it. It's great.
We'll see. But so my husband Bill's taking care of her this evening while we record.
The last couple episodes, we've met kind of midday or morning, and he's been very kind, and he'll take her out on a walk or something.
Yep.
But here we are on a Friday night. Ready to start the weekend with some AZP. Kate, what are we talking about tonight?
Today we are going to be discussing the side quests or other things to do in Twilight Princess, which is my favorite. I know you love that game as well.
I think it's still up there for sure.
Yeah, so we're just going to discuss the various other things you can do, which when I was doing research for this episode, I discovered I did not know about all of them.
Oh, I can't wait to learn.
Yeah, so we'll just talk about the stuff that maybe you guys don't know about as well, so you can keep an eye out for it the next time you play the game.
Yeah, back in season 1, we did favorite side quests in Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild is full of them. It's a very different kind of game, being an open world game.
Yeah.
But there was still a lot. Zelda's always known for its. We even had some listener feedback in the last episode where questions from a new Zelda fan, and one of our listener feedback comments was, "Oh, you guys should talk about all the mini games in Twilight Princess. They're all so great." And I was like, Hey, we've already got it in the queue. We've got side quests, but I think we'll talk about some of these other side experiences as well.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Because a side quest is a little different in a game like Ocarina or Twilight Princess or Skyward Sword compared to like an open world game like Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, this is going to kind of encompass all the things that are secondary or extra to the main plot that you can do for funsies. It can be a mini game or it can be other stuff.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's kind of a mix of a lot of different stuff in Twilight Princess, which is that game in a nutshell. So,
yeah, I like it. And also, I'm suspecting, I'm just now realizing as we're talking about this, I'm also suspecting we might get a lot of these. I mean, are we going to speak to the fact that many of these mini game experiences were also very Wii motion controller friendly? I was like, look what we can do. So now you're gonna fish by actually casting.
We can discuss.
Yeah.
We can discuss.
All right, cool. We'll get into it when we get into it. I have a bunch of listener feedback, so I want to go through some of it very quickly.
Cool.
And by quickly, I mean it might take a little bit because we're getting some really nice feedback. And I know my iPad died today. It didn't die today. It's just not charged right now. It was the day my iPad died. And I don't have my. No, it's still kicking along. But I have to read these comments off my phone, so this is going to just take me a second. The screen is so small. So small. This is okay. So I have an iTunes review here from. Oh my God, I'm old. I have an iTunes review from Big Thoron, which is hysterical, and bringing out my inner fangirl is what it is. 5-star review here back in July. Actually, she says, "Loving this podcast so much. I don't have anyone in my friend group who appreciates Zelda like I do. So listening to David and Kate go into details about the various games makes me feel like I'm actually involved in a conversation about my favorite game series. Keep it up, y'all. Much love." gnarly emoji, like hang 10 emoji, whatever it is, the pinky and the thumb.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Big Thoron.
Thank you.
I love it. Let's keep moving here. Oh, over on Patreon, Tony Harris is one of our supporters, and he said, this is about our most emotional storyline episode that we had 4 or 5 episodes ago. He said, always my favorite emotional storyline is the tragedy that happens at the end of Ocarina. After Zelda sends Link back, he's unable to return to the Kokiri. He's no longer pure, and Navi leaves. He's lost everything he's loved for a war he did not participate in.
Ooh,
dang, Tony Harris.
That is deep.
Tony Harris.
That is emotional.
I feel like I need to talk to him about some blog writing. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, we'll find in time here, Kate, when Majora's Mask starts, I don't want to say he's depressed, but like he's really lost at the beginning of that game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Poor Linky.
Over on Discord, in response to our non-Dungeon Dungeons episode, Mike West, who goes by Westfall over on Discord, he said, oh man! Oh yeah, this was kind of funny. For some reason, he missed this episode, the non-Dungeon Dungeons episode. Was that one that we did with? No, we just did that, just you and I. Yeah. I thought for a second maybe Lizzie was with us, but that was the Shrine one.
Yep.
Oh man! Somehow he said this just recently. Oh man! Somehow I skipped this episode, like how one might skip a non-Dungeon Dungeon. But a few shout outs here. First, the earliest example of something close to this might be Death Mountain in Zelda 2. He's absolutely right, and we'll obviously play Zelda 2 in time. It's a network of caves that ultimately lead to the hammer, which can break roadblocks. So it's a classic. Sometimes these kinds of things in games are very stressful for me. It's a classic in and out of the doors maze. Basically, you're going in and out of caves to the overworld, into caves, and you have to kind of keep track of what you're doing. Remember The Lion King for Super Nintendo and Genesis had an entire level just based on that. It was one of the later episodes. I might not have ever
gotten that far.
I see. That was one of the few Super Nintendo games that I really actually could beat back in the day.
I played that on Sega, but I mean, you didn't. I don't think you had a cheat code for that game like you did for Aladdin, which I used.
Aladdin had a cheat code?
Oh yeah.
It's a different developer. Virgin did Lion King and Capcom did Aladdin, so maybe. Well, anyway, he continues. The Death Mountain in Zelda 2. It's a network of caves. Okay, yep, that ultimately, which can lead to roadblocks. Curiously, this is the only game where Death Mountain is to the south. South of the final hammer cave shows a small area of the map that is supposed to reveal that the entire first. Oh, yeah. He's talking about how the first Zelda map is actually technically in Zelda 2, and it's true. You'll see it in time, Kate. Just a small section of the greater kingdom of Hyrule in this game. Also, I really like the Yiga clan hideout more than most of my friends did, anyway, as another non-dungeon dungeon. I think, did we talk about Yiga clan and non-dungeon dungeons?
I don't recall, but I can understand that one.
Yes.
I am not a huge fan only because I don't like stealth missions that much. I'd rather just go in and just kick everyone's butt. But I get it. A lot of people do like stealth.
Yeah, I agree. And one thing I can say about the Yiga Clan hideout is that the build up to it is very cool. When you're still in the overworld and you're seeing the kind of the toad statues, and you're going and there's fabric hanging, and there's reminiscent, like the essence of a culture. I think for a while I kind of got up on the cliffs because I was nervous to be down in the cave, or down in the canyon.
It's a trap.
I still took the canyon. Exactly. Exactly. And so that all really builds up as like a non-dungeon dungeon nicely.
Yeah.
Okay, over on YouTube here for our live Water Dungeons episode, Bradley Bookover says there's a cheese for Dark Link where you just use the hammer over and over and he can't get to you. LOL. I liked hearing how y'all tackled this. Have you ever tried that?
I did. I have tried that before, but because that hammer is kind of unwieldy at times and it's kind of it's a longer process. Like he has to kind of rear up and go wha-ching, and like it just takes longer. I think I wasn't doing it quickly enough to catch Dark Link in that. Like by the time I got down to the ground, he was gone.
Interesting.
So I think I just had to time it right.
Yeah, if you can get it caught in a loop or something.
Yeah.
A la like the 100 Lives Turtle thing in World 3 in Mario Brothers, where it's like if you can get the timing just right, it's like king.
Yep.
It must be something like that.
Yep.
Another top 10 emotional storyline comment over on YouTube from J. Datra M. Just found this podcast! ! Now I have a lot of back episodes to listen to. Great show. Oh, that was just a nice thing. Okay, great. Thank you so much, Jay Trotta. iTunes review. I think we just have a couple more here. iTunes review, the best. I absolutely love this podcast. Dave and Kate do an amazing job. As much as I love playing Zelda, listening to you guys is just as enjoyable.
Wow.
That is a compliment to the
false.
highest.
That is false.
There's nothing better than having a big project at work and listening to you guys to help me stay focused and sane. Keep up the fantastic work. That was P. Roberts. Thank you so much.
I hope you're working on a project right now. Keep going.
You can do it.
Job.
We believe in you, P. Roberts. We believe in you. I was going to riff on a whole thing. I was like, no, let's keep at it.
Probably best you don't.
Tiny Gannon over on iTunes. Tiny Gannon's hysterical. I think he or she, Tiny Gannon, has left a few iTunes reviews. I didn't know you could do that, but I think I've seen Tiny Gannon pop up a few times, and also over on our Discord. So Tiny Gannon here says, this podcast is so cool over on iTunes. He says, they are so insightful, especially compared to me. When they say like, oh, I didn't put this interesting whatever together for a while, I'm so dumb, I always think, I never put that together. Well, Tiny Gannon, it's always fun to find new things about Zelda and learn new things.
Which I do every time.
Every episode. Yeah. I learn more stuff. I love it. I think we'll wrap it up here with this final one. Love it. BNEB. BNEB over on iTunes review. I say it every single episode, but it's always so helpful when people leave us iTunes reviews because it helps us climb the charts and help us show up. I had a friend, this is legitimate, this is real, in real life, had a friend tell me that their friend got recommended our podcast organically on iTunes.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and a lot of that's because of our support on the iTunes reviews here and stuff like that, the support we get. Nice. So thank you so much. And it's also just a pleasure to continue this conversation. BNeb over here on iTunes says, found this podcast a couple weeks ago and listened to all 42 episodes in 10 days.
Oh my gosh.
The only bad thing about this podcast is waiting for the next episode to release.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think we'll stop there for now. Thank you so much. Yeah. It's really a treat. Kate.
Yes.
I don't know if I've told you this yet on air. We are getting a lot of support from our listeners. It's so wonderful and so great that I'm kind of starting to get inspired now. I think I want to start setting up maybe some meetups in Milwaukee or Chicago, just casual evenings. Maybe some of our, cool. people who listen to the show can meet up with us. We're starting to get a fair amount of people in Chicago that listen.
Yeah.
And there's even a pub in Chicago adjacent to my neighborhood that's called Gannon's Pub.
Really?
It's just a coincidence. It's kind of themed European style. It's like, it actually kind of makes sense. I think that it might be a double N though in the name. Anyways, that might be a fun place to meet up or whatever.
Just cross it out when you go in. Cover it up.
We'll see. And I know there's a lot of people in Wisconsin that listen to us that live a little bit north of Milwaukee. It might be fun in time, maybe a little bit later after the holidays or something, to put something together.
Cool.
And do a meetup here, wouldn't you think?
Awesome. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, it'd be great. All right.
We can have such a discussion.
Maybe we can even grab sound bites. Anyway, let's go.
All right.
Twilight Princess.
So, like I kind of mentioned before, there are mini games and there are other things to do. So I was thinking maybe we can start with the mini games that you can play. One of these I never got to, heard of, nothing. I haven't even heard of it before, like it referenced before.
Yes.
So I don't know if we want to start with that one or...
Let's dig in deep. Let's do it. Let's try this.
Okay.
They've been waiting 15 minutes for us to get to the content here.
Does the word roll goal mean anything to you?
Roll gold?
Yeah, roll goal. ROLLGOAL.
There's a mini game where you're rolling something or you are No. Exactly. I've never heard of it.
All right, so I want to know, so y'all can leave us some feedback on this episode or tweet at us and let us know if you have discovered this. So
at Technophiles Pod on Twitter.
There you go. Apparently, when you
go my gosh, not Technophile. I'm so sorry. I had a lapse. That's an old podcast that I used to do. Another Zelda Pod.
I was wondering if that had changed. I'm like, well, if the handle changed.
Well, I said at Technophiles Pod for about 8 years. So sorry, that was just embedded down in my brain. Sorry.
Still buried in there.
At Another Zelda Pod. Thank you so much.
So if you are in the fishing hole area and you go into Hina's shop, or Henna's shop, I don't know how you want to pronounce her name.
Yeah.
So you go into the shop and you have to look at something in first person view.
I mean, I'm captivated.
Which Yeah, I would never. Well, I might have done it because I do that in the game from time to time.
Twilight Princess was the first one where it was really nice to look around because they were doing all that set dressing and stuff. They were actually adding a lot of props in.
And it's just pretty in general. You can take a look at the environment. So you have to look at this in first person view.
Yep.
First person view. If you look at the wooden game in the corner of the shop, then you get offered to play the game. So you have to actually look at the game and like check it out. And then Hina will say, oh, do you want to play the game for 5 rupees? You have to roll a marble to the finish line by tilting the Wii remote.
Oh. I wonder how they do that on Wii U. Maybe they just use the accelerometer. Because honestly, like I want to go home tonight and go to that shop and try it out.
I don't know how I missed this. I mean, I did plenty of exploring in Twilight Princess. I don't know why I didn't come upon this.
I guess you just didn't look in the right place. Literally.
Yeah, because you have to look in first person. So you have to roll a marble to the finish line by tilting the remote. There's a time limit, but I guess it's not that big of a deal. You usually have enough time to complete it from what I've been reading.
It's amazing.
Which when I was growing up, I did like playing those little marble rolly games. There's one, I don't know what it was for, what system it was for, but it was old game, and you would have to roll the marble around like kind of MC Escher looking.
Marble Madness?
That's probably it. That sounds like it.
Marble Madness originally came out for the arcade and then later came out for the Nintendo Entertainment System.
Okay.
There's there's a pinball bar that is my favorite bar in Chicago called Logan Arcade. And they have wonderful pinball machines. It's in my neighborhood, but they have an original Marble Madness there. And you actually execute by rolling actual trackballs, like heavy trackballs. So cool.
Nice. So I used to like playing those games, so I'm kind of bummed that I did not come upon this in Twilight Princess because I would have had fun.
Well, I'm seeing a screenshot here that you have up, and it kind of evokes like a Super Monkey Ball kind of thing, where it's not so much like a Plinko machine where you're sending balls. You're actually trying to keep it on a track, a bridge, if you will.
Yep, exactly. And there are multiple levels of it too. So if you win the first level, you get 10 rupees and you unlock the next level. There are 8 levels. And if you beat all 8 levels, you get a lure for fishing, which I also don't think I did in Twilight Princess.
And it probably gets you some big fish, right?
It's the frog lure.
Interesting.
Which, let me remind myself, because I didn't obviously get the frog lure, so I had to learn what it was.
I am into this right now. This makes me want to go back to Twilight Princess. This makes me want to go back to Twilight Princess on GameCube to see how they did it. Maybe they just do control stick.
Yeah, I don't know. I wish I knew. I guess I don't know what the frog lure does, but it's a special lure for fishing.
Fascinating.
So yeah, that is Roll Goal. I knew nothing about that. I was like, what is this? Because it was mentioned in another place when I was doing research for it, and I was like, what is Roll Goal? What is this thing that I've never heard of? I'd never looked at that game. It does have a handy dandy tip, the screen that I'm looking at right now. So it says, if you're playing on the Wii, use both hands to steady the remote and make cornering easier.
Fair enough, right?
So
there were sometimes with Wii games where I'd actually hold all 4 corners of the Wiimote and then kind of do it like almost an Etch-a-Sketch where you're like, just this corner, just that. I don't know.
Just a little tilt. So that's one of the mini games that you can play just for funsies.
Cool.
Did you play a lot of mini games when playing Zelda in general? Were you kind of like, nah, I'm too busy for this with the main quest? Were you like, I could kill some time, let me do this? Did it depend on how many rupees you had?
So Dan and I joked about this last week. I have to be honest. And it's so funny because like when we speak about Breath of the Wild, I talk about, I just want to go explore the prairie, or I want to go, like, I don't mind if I'm off the main quest. But that said, when I was playing Twilight Princess, if I'm in a town and you find a little mini game, basically the quick version of this is I try everything once. Mm-hmm. I usually go like, oh, cool. We're shooting a thing or we're doing a thing. Even when we played Beyond Good and Evil and you had to do the little disc shoot game.
Yep.
I just did it until I won to get the pearl, I think.
Oh, I never won that one. That was too difficult.
And then I was kind of done and moved on. Mm-hmm. So the only thing I did repeatedly in Twilight Princess, and I'm not a big fishing area guy, but I remember the graphics at the time were so beautiful for the fishing area. Mm-hmm. Because it was the first time in a Zelda game where you could kind of actually see the fish under the water, and it was all the ripple effects, and you could kind of, with your own human eyes on the screen, read the pond, see where the fish are swimming. So, okay, I'm going to go over there. Whereas with Ocarina, they animate some fish swimming, but it doesn't exactly have anything to do with where the fish really are, stuff like that. You see where I'm going with this?
Yep.
So I did do
a little more realistic.
Yeah, I did that one more. I don't know if I think I kind of tried to do the gem Spider-Man thing in town a few times just because I loved doing the double hookshot stuff.
Gotcha.
You know which one I'm talking about with the creepy guy?
Yeah, we can talk about that one
sure.
too.
That's the guy that is allegedly referencing Tingle, by the way.
Oh.
Apparently he wears similar clothes.
Okay, I gotcha. Yeah, I don't think I did the fishing in Twilight Princess at all. And we can talk, why don't we just go to fishing then, since we're kind of already talking about that. So fishing is obviously a part of many Zelda games. The remake of Link's Awakening came out fairly recently, and I really enjoyed the fishing in that game. I thought it was really fun.
Cool. Did you fish when you played the Game Boy one?
I don't remember. I might have tried.
It's similar. I've seen the layout. I have not played the Link's Awakening remake yet.
Yeah. And then I did some in Ocarina of Time. I remember that. I think it's funny that it comes up so frequently and is just a random thing that you see. One of those things that you see throughout the series over and over and over again.
Like there's always fishing. Except in Breath of the Wild. In Breath of the Wild, you just snatch them out of the water.
That's true.
There's no fishing.
They magically go into your pocket.
Yep.
I don't know.
Swimming by that bass.
I'm gonna grab
by that bass.
Gonna grab this one and this one. I like fishing. So yeah, there are different lures that you can use in Twilight Princess here, which we talked briefly about. Right. The frog lure, and that's the special one that obviously, even if I did do the fishing, I wouldn't have known about without playing Roll Goal.
Well, they train you that there's going to be different kinds of lures right from the get-go in that first hour or two when you have to get the thing for the fish for the cat.
Yep. So you get the fishing pole, and then you do have to catch the fish to lure the cat to get the thing and do the other thing and go to the place, and it's all this big chain. But then you can actually just fish for funsies.
What was really fun about fishing in Twilight Princess for me was that I think in Ocarina you kind of had to always just do it from the shore, but in Twilight Princess you could get in a canoe and go out on the lake, and it just looked beautiful.
I am sad that I missed it. I don't know what.
So weird. You gotta
I don't know what or how, or the reason. I don't think I would have avoided it necessarily. You have to restore the river and the lake first, and maybe once I did that, I just kind of went, okay, bye.
Yeah, I think you do have to chat with the gal, and then it gives you access to a new area, something like that. I will say that the fishing in Majora's Mask 3D remake is also kind of beautiful.
Oh.
Yeah, I was tinkering around with it the other day, and I was like, but then again, as I've said before, the Majora's Mask remake is pretty close, with the exception of character models, it's pretty close to Twilight Princess level of graphics.
Oh,
honestly.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So location will influence what types of fish you get, which is common in games. I'm also thinking of, I like fishing in Stardew Valley, which is a game for the Nintendo Switch. So that one you can go to like different places and fish. So apparently I am not a Zelda only fishing fan. So this person advises like logs, waterfalls, places for fish to congregate. That's where you should maybe hang out. Then you can choose which lure you'd like to use. So there's a couple here. There's the swimmer lure, which is the standard one. It's well-rounded. You can catch a bunch of different kinds of fish. There's the popper lure, which is good for deep sea fish.
Interesting.
And I don't know how many of these you ended up being able to get or use.
I specifically recall that while I fished, I never really was successful at getting a bigger one or a smaller one. I would just kind of go out there. I think I was just more excited about the water effects. I think I kind of like pushed my boat around, fished a little bit. Okay, cool, I did it.
You're like, this is pretty.
I never really broke down the lures too much, to be honest. Yeah,
Gotcha.
It was a little. Oh my gosh, it was my quote unquote Breath of the Wild experience. I was like, I'm just gonna go on the lake, man.
Aw, nice.
I'm realizing it now.
I would probably be like, I need to find all the things. I need to get the things to make sure I get all the fish, because that's what I was doing with the Link's Awakening thing, because you can get. You can catch different types of fish in that one, and I was like, I gotta get that one of those and one of these, one of those. There's a bottle. Spoiler alert! And
right, yeah, bottles are new. Bottles aren't in original Link's Awakening.
Oh,
yeah, you might recall. Though in original Link's Awakening, there's a big fish that kind of hangs out down in the bottom by the weeds, and he's especially gives you something. Is that also true for?
Well, there's a big fish. I haven't caught him yet.
Okay.
I haven't gotten there yet. I'm not good enough yet. I have to go back.
I think this is, for what it's worth, behind the scenes, I think this is the week where I'm going to buy a Switch and buy Link's Awakening. I'm kind of excited about it.
Oh,
Anyways,
boy. You're going to love it. You're going to love it.
I tell you, for Breath of the Wild, my Wii U is staying true. It's giving me the experience I need. So, but it's time. Link's Awakening.
Yep, you gotta do it. Mm-hmm. There is the spinner lure as well that catches fish that take off quickly. So I guess it reels them back in. Fishing pun.
Very good.
And then the frog lure.
Glad you put that together.
And that's about it. Oh, I lied. There's a sinking lure as well. And to get the sinking lure, this is even crazier.
Sinking lure sounds familiar.
Okay, so this is even crazier to me than the frog one that you only get by winning that game. The sinking one is you have to catch a bass, a pike, and a catfish, and then use your bobber in a new section of the lake.
Oh my gosh.
Or I'm sorry, not a new. I misread my writing. A northwestern section, not new. Northwest section of the lake, because otherwise, I guess Hina will confiscate
the lure because you're cheating because it's a sinking one.
Yes,
fascinating.
So you have to catch like 3 different kinds of fish, and then go to a certain part where she can't see you.
Yeah, line of sight.
And
that's cool.
That's ridiculous to me. That's like so much effort for fishing, but.
I think that's what it is about side quests and mini games in some of the earlier Zelda games, is that sometimes I'm just kind of like, I don't need to have there be a reward. You know this of all things, but sometimes it's like, really, why am I doing? If it's really, why am I doing this? Why am I here? If it's for 50 rupees, I don't know if I need to try so hard.
Yeah, and that's kind of why I like you said, I'll try mini games once, and then if that's the reward, I'm like, I don't need to do that.
Like a bowling game or a throw the stuff on the bottle game, or like classic mini games.
Yeah, if
shooting gallery.
If shooting arrows at targets gets me 20 rupees, it's not worth it enough to
I always play it once and be like, oh, this is fun. Look at the little things moving back and forth. That's true on Ocarina, Majora's Mask, and Twilight Princess.
Yep. Well, speaking of rupees games, we can go to one of those next, I suppose. So we have Falby's Flight by Fowl, which is the scary clown person.
Really?
Remember the scary clown person game and the chickens?
I don't.
So
is it in Castletown?
I have to remind myself.
All I'm
because it might be
remembering
by
is the
lake.
kind of colorful tent game in Castletown, because honestly, this chicken, I don't think there's too many chickens in Castletown. A lot of dogs.
So you have to take the cannon to this place.
Oh.
So yeah, you have to do the cannon normal travel package to access.
That's in the brochure.
Yeah, of course.
Take normal package, cannon.
Play the chicken game.
Is there enough foot room? Is there leg room? Can I have an aisle seat in the cannon package, please?
May I visit the terrifying clown person using this package? Why, yes, you can.
In. Sold. Here's my credit card.
Yes. So Falby is
But in Zelda, it couldn't be called credit card. It'd have to be called like some crazy word. You know how all the animals are called different things?
A Kokiri card?
We'll take it.
I don't know.
I'll allow it.
I was just trying to get close to credit.
Oh, I see with the alliteration. Got it.
That's about it. So you take the cannon to the house where the scary clown person lives.
Yeah.
And I always think it's funny too when you come upon these situations and they're like, play my game. And you're like, is this your job?
Do you just sit here all day?
Do you just stand here waiting for me to come play this game? Like, this isn't a...
They're like, yes, I do.
This isn't a business that will keep you alive and well. You need another gig here. But basically, you pay 20 rupees.
I was just struck with something. The coolest thing a Zelda game could ever do, that is not true. That is a gross exaggeration. However, something that would be really cool to see is NPCs playing these games also.
Ooh.
Like if you were to walk up to, let's say in a Breath of the Wild or whatever, even if it's scripted a little bit, to see just people walk up, give it a try, you can't go yet or something, and like they go, and then, or maybe there's a little bit of a queue line and you can get a fast pass. I don't know. I'm taking this too far, but that would be nice, right?
Yeah.
You know, maybe see a clump of people that, if like this gentleman who's out in the woods with his crazy tent, maybe certain times of the day there's a couple people that are out there as well. That certainly would add to the illusion.
It'd be less sad, far less sad.
That's all I'm
He's
trying to
just
do.
like, come to me and play my game, please. I have nothing else to live for.
Nothing else.
So you pay 20 rupees. You pick up a chicken. and and then you jump off the platform, and then you float around.
I've played this game.
Yes.
Yes, I did. Of course I played this.
This is one that I actually did play.
You try to get through the rings or something, or you land on something at the end.
Yeah, so there's a high rotating platform that has 100 rupees. There's also a piece of heart below that one. So pieces of heart, that is, in my opinion, worth trying.
Always.
Yeah, rupees, nah, not so much. But and then the further down you go, the lower the prize, which is, I think, a common theme with them too. Like Skyward Sword, it's not a lower thing. I think it's like a larger platform, has a smaller prize.
And I think maybe even that final platform in Twilight Princess specifically isn't even moving, if I recall correctly. I feel like the ones on top are kind of rotating around in circles, and the one on the bottom.
Yeah,
unless it's
obviously harder to get to.
I'm misremembering, but yeah, okay, yeah, that's fun. That's interesting. Oh yeah, the cuckoos in Twilight Princess. I skipped Twilight Princess by accident when I was talking about the cuckoos in the last episode, but it's all good.
Yeah, so the highest platform with the 100 rupees is rotating. So yeah, that's part of it as well.
Got it.
So yeah, that's one that I actually did do.
I think I did that one a couple times.
Another one that I actually did do, I'm looking through my notes,
no problem,
was the Star Minigame, which you had talked about briefly. So this is the one in Castletown where you have to use the claw shot.
Oh, this is that. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's what it's called, is Star Minigame.
Weird. Star,
so yeah, this is one where you just kind of have to. I stumbled upon it.
Yeah.
I don't think I explored Castletown very much the first time I played, and I know it's one of your favorite.
Well, hopefully you didn't explore it much because it was all so overwhelming that you just kind of lived in it and went to where you needed to go, to be honest.
Yeah. And the most recent time that I played, I actually took my time and made sure to go in all the nooks and crannies of it. So yeah, there's a tent, and it's on the eastern entrance of Hyrule Castletown. And so you have to collect floating orbs, and you basically go from side to side to side by using the claw shot.
Yeah, you could say that you're in like a big bird cage.
Yeah.
And so,
every Thunderdome.
A Thunderdome, every part of the Thunderdome, the claw shot can grab onto. And so essentially you're just, I jokingly say Spider-Manning around, but it's not exactly the same because Spider-Man swings and you don't really swing with the claw shot, but you're trying to get a line of sight, and you're really just creating a line of sight puzzle of trying to move around and just get all the little orbs.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie. I'm pretty sure I first tried this game without the claw shot, and I was like, this is difficult.
Well, I'm just climbing up the walls and jumping off the walls.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Wasn't exactly doable.
And I think there's one orb right in the center up on the top, so you have to get to the top and then go up your claw shot. And if I remember correctly, the guy's a little creepy. Yeah, he's the Tingle-like guy or whatever. But doesn't he have a little fan club too?
Ooh, I don't know.
I think he's a set of girls, or maybe it's just some kids that are he's the coolest, if I remember. But I wanted to say one other thing about Castletown, and then maybe we'll go to break here real quick. So to speak to that point of you saying I don't think I did this the first time I played, I actually think that that's kind of cool, because when you go to Castletown in Ocarina, you get in, you talk to the 10 people, and then you're kind of what else can I do?
Yeah.
You go into some shops, and I guess you kind of find the back alley, and you're I guess I'll check this door. I guess I'll check this door. I guess I'll check this door. 25 years ago, that felt really cool and big.
Right.
But to think about being in a town that's so large or has so many different options that you can just skip by things is kind of cool.
Yeah. And it obviously gives the game a higher replay value. If you're not a die-hard completionist, then you can go back and play again and find something that you didn't know about before.
Oh, I can piggyback off that. For example, in Breath of the Wild, when you go to a horse stable and there's 10 to 12 people hanging out, in a different video game, maybe in Twilight Princess, I would think okay, I need to talk to everyone and get the things. But in Breath of the Wild, I don't feel that urgency. I kind of just, who looks interesting, who's living their life, I guess I'll go chat with that person. Yeah. And it's much more engaging that way for me.
Plus there will be different people every time you go, or almost every time you go. There might be someone new there that wasn't there before, or someone's gone. You're oh, wait.
So it forces you to just live in the moment instead of trying to game the game.
Yep.
Anyways, Kate, Unless there's anything you still want to say about the Crazy Birdcage game.
Just to go over it. It's 10 rupees to play, so not too bad. But you can get a larger arrow quiver.
Ooh, that's kind of nice.
Yeah, if y'all who are listening have not played it and you want to know what the special prize is. And there's a second challenge. So there's 2 challenges. The first one you need the claw shot. The second one you need the double claw shot.
Right.
So you can't beat the second challenge until you have that, and then you can get a 100 arrow quiver.
So I think I might have, at least my memory is of using the double claw shot. So I obviously must have gone there and gone back. I did skip this when we did our playthrough last season. Like I kind of, you know what I mean? I knew what it was. I played it mostly on GameCube.
Yeah.
With this particular mini game I played 15 years ago on GameCube mostly.
Yeah, so I guess I was the opposite in that I did play it the last time.
That's all right. That's all right.
All right. Well, I think we're gonna go to a break, like you said. So we will be back for some more mini games and side quests from Twilight Princess after the break.
Woohoo!
Okay, bye.
Hey, this is TC.
And this is Jim from the Studio Demands It podcast,
Where every episode we take a demand from a hypothetical studio,
which could be you,
and challenge ourselves to conceptualize, pitch, and craft a film based on the stipulations
or the demands
we are given. We talk about movies all the time. Particularly, we complain about the choices made in the films we've seen.
We're nerds like that.
And, of course, like any good nerd does, we automatically assume that we could do better.
Even with the demands and restrictions that clearly must have been put on by a production.
So head on over to studiodemandsit.com and listen to our previous library of episodes. Our library of previous episodes. Our precious library, Jim. Our library of precious episodes.
You're a pirate, Smeagol.
Okay, so head on over to studiodemandsit.com to listen to our library of episodes.
And submit your demand for a future episode, too.
So go do that.
Okay, bye.
Okay, end of ad.
Hey everybody, David here. I hope you're enjoying the episode so far. I just wanted to talk to you about some of the updates we have on our Patreon page. Now, as some of you know, we do have our 3 tiers, the sword tier, the white sword tier, and the magical sword tier. And we've been getting some really tremendous support over on Patreon. It's truly amazing, and I want to tell you a little bit about some of our new rewards. So for starters, we decided to add the Wallpaper Reward to our sword tier. This means that anyone who is a supporter on Patreon will get a special thank you on our website, and they'll also receive the ability to download wallpapers once a month from our Patreon page. Now, I make these wallpapers myself, and it's a lot of fun. They come in a variation of screen sizes. I also make a phone version and an iPad version. I even make an Apple Watch version, which is kind of fun. Next, we have our White Sword tier, and that's staying pretty much the same. What the White Sword level will give you is early access to each of our episodes. Typically, it's about a week before. Also, advertisement-free versions of those episodes, and I record a little Patreon-specific intro before each one, just a touch of behind the scenes before we get into the episodes. Also, of course, on the White Sword tier, we have our bonus content, which we release just little mini episodes every 3 or 4 normal episodes. We put a little mini episode in there. That will also be available on the private RSS link that you'll receive by becoming a White Sword member. And lastly, this is the big one. Our Magical Sword tier, Kate and I have decided to bring a camera with us into the studio, you could say, every single episode going forward after episode 17 of season 2. So we just kind of set this camera up and we say a little quick intro to our Magical Sword patrons, and we let them be there with us, so to speak, while we record the episode. I'm really excited about this because I've been wanting to give our Magical Sword supporters something really special, and I think this is a great way to do it. Okay, so that's it. You can go to patreon.com/Another Zelda Podcast. You can also find links on our website to our Patreon page. We're so grateful for the support we've received already, and if you are interested in any of these rewards at all, please go check us out.
All right, welcome back. Dave and I are discussing the side quests and minigames of Twilight Princess, and we kind of left off with one of the minigames that's kind of, in my opinion, take it or leave it. It's kind of, meh. I don't know if the...
All minigames or this next one?
No, the one that we just discussed, which is the Star Minigame. That's where we left off.
I remember the lighting in there was very show-offy. Like, they were like, look what we can do with this system.
Look at these shiny things that you can catch.
There was a lot of like mapping of textures that were changing the colors and the lighting. But anyways.
So maybe next we can go to the Fruit Pop Flight Challenge.
I do not know what you're talking about.
Exactly. And I don't know how I missed like a bunch of these games in Twilight Princess, but I lied. I played this one before.
Pop Flight Challenge?
Yeah.
Are you flying through the air and you're trying to run into fruit and pop them?
Yes.
Really?
Pretty much. So you have to be Wolf Link.
Why is the fruit in the air?
Who knows?
Okay, let's do it.
You have to be Wolf Link for this one. You're going to fly through balloons shaped as fruit for points.
Okay.
So yeah.
It's not real fruit. They're balloons. They're filled with helium or some gas that's lighter than...
Right. But it's kind of like what you said. So you want to aim for balloons of the same fruit to rack up a high scoring multiplier. So different kinds of fruit are worth different things. And basically you'll get a piece of heart if you rack up over 10,000 points. And then after you get the piece of heart, you can just keep winning rupees if you want to do
What
that.
in the world? Where is this in the game?
It's the
Your
west
Wolf Link.
side of Lake Hylia. Or Hylia?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was also thinking
However
like
you
when do you
prefer to
come?
pronounce.
When I should have said when in the game's narrative. Do we first find this? Do you know? Have you played? You said you did play this. Huh?
Oh no, I lied. I did not play this. I remember flying through the air as the wolf, and my dog is barking in
Ooh.
the background, and I apologize.
She's having difficult times right now.
But no, I don't think I came across this one. You have to summon a character, I guess, to.
Yeah, I think I kind of remember this. Midna
Yeah.
uses her big hand to grab onto one of the birds or something like that, and then you fly down the river, which
That's part of like the actual main story, and this is like a separate flying type game.
same mechanic, perhaps.
Yes.
I see.
Yes. I'm trying to look at a picture of this
Uh-oh.
character that you're supposed to summon.
Midna.
Plum. Oh, a bird. Okay. She's a talking mina bird. She only invites animals to play.
Oh, there it is.
So that's why I didn't come across this one, I think, because when I was Wolf Link, I didn't talk to all of the animals. I
Right.
talked to some of them, but I guess I didn't find it worth it enough to talk to all the creatures of the world. But if I had, I would have been able to play the game.
Yeah.
Interesting. Apparently that if you're Link, when you talk to this character, she is very rude.
Oh, that's funny. Wait, the bird talks to a human? It's fine. We'll let it happen. I mean, there's a lot of talking.
Oh, I
animals in
lied.
Zelda.
Nope, it's wolf form. See, I have to like look this up because
'cause
I have
it'll
not
refer
played this
to Link.
before. Yeah.
This is cool.
Yeah, so it's another thing to keep an eye out for because
Mm-hmm.
it's another thing that I completely missed.
Something I wanted to kind of talk about was I really enjoyed the side quest, you could say, though I think you might have to do it, of the kind of Wild West shootout with the moblins or bokoblins when you get
Yes.
your maybe it's just normal arrows. Yeah. The crossbow thing only exists in the Link's crossbow challenge.
Yeah.
But boy, that is fun.
Yeah, so that's kind of stealthy, or you could play it in a stealth kind of way if you don't
Yeah.
want them to come after you.
It's designed so that you're kind of going through you find this old town. So you're doing one of these transition hallways from one part of Hyrule Field to another part.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the first time I played it, definitely I played it on our review because I do think you might need to, but I found it a little bit by accident. And I was just like, oh, what's this direction? This kind of little hallway or something, maybe it was a door even or something like that. And you go into it and there's this entire worn down Wild West town.
Yeah.
And honestly, the whole thing is there just to kind of play this mini game where you clear the town, very Wild West style. You're hiding behind things. You're shooting people with arrows from afar. I think the music even changes into a kind of a Wild West type of music. It's very windy. They ramp up all the dust effects
It's kind of like a shooting gallery
a little bit, yeah.
that you'd find at Disneyland or,
And I remember at the end of it though, it's basically like you help a little old lady at the end of the town.
Uh-huh.
And that's about it. You never really go back there. And I remember thinking like, wow, there's a lot of modeling. Like, imagine how much happens in Kakariko Village or Kakariko Village. Pardon me. I always get a little tongue-tied there. Kakariko Village. I was like, well, there's a lot of potential here. I wish they would have put a little bit more in here, but it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's for a mini game. You could look at it optimistically and say, for a mini game, it's a lot of geometry and it's really fleshed out well.
Yeah, isn't it that the lady wants to live there with her cats, like in peace? Yeah.
And you can even talk to the cats, I think, as Wolflink, and you get a little extra information.
Yeah. So yeah, like I said before, I didn't talk to all the animals. I should, especially because I'm a cat person. I should have talked to all the cats. Next time.
You're embarrassing yourself.
I know. I'm sorry. Yeah, I like that much stealth. Like when you don't really need it, but you can do it.
Because they'll still, if you get in front of them, they'll still see you. And,
Yeah.
and then shoot at you.
Yeah.
But you can legitimately try to.
And you can like, I think you can shoot exploding things too.
Bomb arrows,
Yep.
perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
I just realized this is that's like the infancy of, like in Breath of the Wild, going after one of those skull bases or something like
Yep.
that, or one of the trees. It's a very similar kind of
Very
thing.
reminiscent. Yeah, it's reminding me of it just talking about it now. So it's interesting that you brought that up.
That's
I was
cool.
having the same thought. So let's move on to snowboarding, which is the weirdest.
I almost forgot about this.
Easy segue into snowboarding. Obviously, Western town snowboarding.
Yeah.
Because that's a thing.
What do
That
they
is-
technically use? They don't obviously use their shields like in Breath of the Wild. Is it just like a piece of bark or something? I think the Yeti's on just like a piece of tree bark.
I thought.
Is it an actual
Link
item?
Does use his shield, but I could be
Maybe.
wrong.
Wow, is that where shield surfing started?
I just
I know you're
can't believe
hitting the
there's snowboarding in a Legend of Zelda game. That might be my favorite, and I've talked about this before because I think it was like one of my non-dungeon dungeons or like other things.
Snowboarding might have
to
come up in
do.
that episode.
Yeah, and I just it's so random and it's so weird, but it's fun. So you can one of the races is necessary to like proceed in the game. Like you have to beat Yeti
To get access to the house?
Yeah, I think for him to actually help you out. And then you can also challenge his wife, who's like this supreme snowboardist, Yetta.
Wow.
Obviously.
So this is after the dungeon, obviously. She's cured or something, and then she's like, hey, snowboard with me?
Yes. Yep. Exactly. Yep. After the Snow Peak Temple is all done, then you can take on Yetta. If you beat both of them, you get a piece of heart. And I guess Yetta's like pretty hard to beat. I did not go back and do the extra snowboarding, but I really did enjoy the snowboarding that was in the game.
Yeah. This episode's dangerous. This is making me want to go play around in Twilight Princess again. But I got a Link to the Past to finish up first
Oh yeah.
for our finale.
Oh yeah. I got to do
Ooh,
that.
I'm into it.
So yeah, the first one is just kind of for funsies, and that one I don't remember as being too difficult, but yeah, you can do a little extra snowboarding if you so choose.
So why do you think they put snowboarding in the game?
I don't know.
I think it was like 2001, and it was like it was the time.
It was the cool thing to do. Something different.
Okay, well,
I
let's
mean,
look at it from a developer point of view. A lot of times in Zelda games, a lot of these mini games or these side quests are an additional set of mechanics, And so there's a lot of times where you even control things a little bit differently, and they just put them in there. They just put them in there because it's like the joke of like going into Red Dead Redemption. I've never played Red Dead Redemption, but like going in and just playing bingo for like 3 hours or poker or something, right?
That's what Bill does.
Like there's a full poker game in Red Dead
Yes.
Redemption.
He will play poker in it, and he'll just play poker.
And that means a team of people, maybe 5 people, maybe 20, built a poker game and then put it into Red Dead Redemption. Like the logic is in there.
Yeah.
So people for Zelda, they build a fishing game and then they just put it in there. They build a snowboard game,
snowboarding game.
or at least the bare bones of one.
Yeah. He is using his shield, it looks like.
Link is?
Yeah.
Got it.
Yep,
Wow.
yep.
Wow. Hot take. That's where shield surfing started.
Possibly.
It was in Twilight Princess. It wasn't in Wind Waker. Development cycle, not chronological.
Yep. I'm reading all the things.
This is great for the show, Kate. Just keep on reading.
Reading is really good for an audio podcast.
What else do you have? I'm trying to think of some too.
There's a rapid ride
Yeah,
on the river.
That's where you're actually steering with your paddle and stuff too, right? You're paddling one side to the other and stuff.
Well, so you have to go down the river, and then you have to hit targets with your arrows.
Oh, that's what it was. Yes.
Yep. So you're drifting down. You have to shoot the targets with your arrows, and then if you hit a wall, you get like docked a point.
Right.
I believe
And
I
the
did
boat
this
wiggles
one.
weird?
Yeah, I believe I did this one.
Well, some version of going down the river, you have to. That's hanging from the crazy bird, right?
Yep.
The wah, wah, wah birds.
There's a lot of that is one thing in Twilight Princess I wasn't a huge fan of is like how often you have to traverse that river in some kind of way.
Yeah,
or
that's true. And I think you can
it.
get the canoe by talking to the fishing lady. And instead of going into the fishing area, I could be mistaken about this, you just head down the river. And it happens after your first experience with the river, of being on the Crazy Bird.
There's a different person that runs this versus the fishing area.
The
so this is Isa's rapid ride. Yeah,
Okay.
I believe so.
Fair enough.
And yeah, so if you get 25 or more points or over 25 points, you get a larger bomb bag. And then after you get that bag, you get rupees. But the larger bomb bag is the initial prize. So, and I don't recall necessarily having an issue running out of arrows or bombs in Twilight Princess, so maybe that's another reason why I didn't do the mini games, although I probably wouldn't have known what the prize is unless I played them.
I mean, when it comes to bombs in a quote-unquote classic Zelda game, you kind of only, at least for me, I guess you could use them during combat, but you kind of just use them to break up walls. They're more of a puzzle thing than an item thing, oftentimes.
Right. I like exploding things in Zelda games, though.
Wow.
Just, I mean, every rock that's around, I'm like, can I explode it?
Just like every NPC, I'm just kind of like, we just want to see if they'll go flying.
Can I explode you? Isa is
we need you to talk to a professional.
Everything's fine. Don't worry about me. What else I got? So that's all like the mini games that I had. I don't know if you would consider. Yeah, I guess that snowboarding is a mini game.
Yeah, I think so. It's not a mini game in that it's a door in a town that you go to find, but it very much is as much as the canoe ride.
Also, snowboarding is free. We should mention that you don't have to pay, which is nice.
Yeah, that's interesting. You're right.
I prefer a free mini game. Because I'm always like, ooh, is this worth it? Like the crane game in Link's Awakening. I'm like, oh, I don't want to pay to do this, man.
Is Yoshi still in there for Link's Awakening?
Yeah, okay. He's in there. Don't you fret. He's in there.
I'm kind of excited to get into that game.
It's really cool. So the other side quests for Twilight Princess, I think the major one would be the golden bugs.
Oh, yeah, let's do this.
Yeah, so...
Agatha,
and she's a weird little girl.
I did think one thing that really impressed me about the bugs the first time I played Twilight Princess is that they obviously had their own little bits of artificial intelligence in that they would land on actual polygons, modeled things. They'd choose to fly around. It was probably all random, but they kind of did live.
Yeah.
Whereas when you found them out in the wild, they lived on a tree, or they kind of had some AI, but they didn't wander too much.
Yeah.
Because they being the developers kind of placed these bugs in certain spots. It's very obvious.
Yep.
But once they get into Agatha's house, they just the developers let the bugs, little AI, just roam free.
Oh,
and they're just everywhere.
I didn't notice that.
And so that idea of, the idea if you go to a butterfly house or whatever and something flies right past your face, or you're in the woods and a bee zips past your face or something, you're like, whoa, what is that? I remember kind of feeling that in Agatha's house after you get 20 or so many of these things and they're kind of just flying all over the place. Yeah. It's a cool thing.
Yeah, that is cool. I guess I didn't notice that before.
I was like that.
The first time I played this game, I didn't care about the bugs. I was probably like, oh, look, a bug.
Yeah, I was about to drink a thing of water and I stopped and it splashed back in my face.
Nice job.
Because I was going to say, I think I skipped the bugs the first time too.
And then second time playing around or third time playing around, whenever it was, I was like, oh, let's give it a shot. And then I kind of got into it. I'm sorry, my dog is barking in the background.
She's having a hard time. Is it because she hears us through the door?
Probably. She probably wants us to come out and play.
I see.
She's like, come outside. I want to hang out. So yeah, I started collecting the bugs and thinking that was pretty cool. I get all excited when I would take them back to her and be like, look what I found. Look at this one. I found this one. It's interesting that you have to collect the male and female so you have to collect a pair.
Yes. Yeah, that is cool.
So it's not just, collect this thing and bring it back. You have to make sure you have both of them. So it's like an extra little
And what
challenge.
happens then? Whenever you do get the two in there, you get a little extra reward when you make a match.
Yeah, so she gives you rupees or a larger wallet, basically. So kind of similar maybe to the gold Skulltulas and Ocarina of Time, because they give you a larger wallet too, I think is one of the prizes. I'm fairly
Similar
certain.
mechanic, you're right.
Yeah. I guess they're easier to find at night. So for those of you playing the game and you want a little hint, because they glow.
They glow. And then I think they might even be out a little bit more at night, because they're not always, I guess you could say, spawned,
Yeah. So easier to find them. And then I guess you also hear a little sound.
Yes, I
as
noticed
you're near
that.
there.
I had definitely noticed that. I remember there were times where I was like by a tree and I was just like, what is with the C stick, whipping my camera around and having the sound kind of track in the speakers and the stereo speakers. And you're like, what is making this noise right now?
It's a bug.
Because it's like a, sometimes.
Oh, yeah. So there's ants, beetles, butterflies, all sorts of stuff. I'm not going to list all the bugs, but
not all, 50 of them or whatever it is?
Grasshoppers, mantises, and then you get to talk to Agatha, and she's just so darn excited every time you bring her a little bug. But it's kind of like a fun little extra quest.
I mean, it's golden bugs. Golden bugs, that's pretty interesting.
I mean, the bug net has been obviously a frequent thing, and finding bugs has been in other games too. I don't know which iteration of it is my favorite. I think the finding the male and female like version and matching them up is interesting,
kinda
like
cool.
an interesting little tweak to the whole common thing.
It's Kinstone-esque, but it's fine. But it's fine. I like it too. I feel so. There was a net. We now know there's a net in A Link to the Past, or at least, I think we've both played with the net at this point. But I think Twilight Princess might be the first time that like a 3D net existed. And so they probably were just, probably the developers, I am positing, or I am creating this in my own imagination right now, but they were probably like wanting to do the gold Skulltula mechanic. And they had the net and they needed to justify the net a little bit more. And so they're like, we'll have it be smaller bugs, and I think that's fine.
So here's one that we can debate is if it is a side quest or not.
Let's do it.
Do you think the hidden skills that you find with the Howling Stones are a side quest, or do you think they are part of the main quest?
That's tricky. That is so tricky.
So these are stones that you find, and you can hear them when you get close to them. It sounds like wind whistling through the trees or something. You go up to them in wolf form, and you can learn a little song and howl. Now, I don't know that. Obviously, some of these skills are necessary to progress, but I don't know that all of them are.
So I remember kind of starting Twilight Princess and being disappointed that I didn't have all the moves that Link had in Wind Waker. Like Wind Waker, pretty quickly early on, it's like you learn how to do the stabs. And I was like, did they really take that out for this game? It doesn't seem like that'd be the case. And then once you start getting them as the skills, I realized I was like, okay, they kind of want to roll out these more advanced maneuvers. Maybe they found that in Wind Waker, people didn't use them much because they weren't like kind of given to you at appropriate times of your skill level.
Right.
I don't know if there were side quests. I feel like I did every single one, but I don't know now that I think about it. How many are there?
There are 7.
Yeah, that seems about right. I remember getting really excited to get like the little finisher move one, or the one where he jumps over from the top, because that one I used a lot in Wind Waker. Honestly, you have to use it a lot of times to knock people's armors off and stuff. And stuff.
So yeah, there's the ending blow. That one you learn automatically, so that one you don't really have to hunt for. There's a shield attack, a back slice, the helm splitter, the mortal draw, the jump strike, and the great spin. And I don't know, I'm not convinced. Y'all can yell at me on the internet if I'm wrong, but I'm not convinced that all of them are necessary to beat the game.
Yeah, I would agree.
So in that vein, I guess I would consider them a side quest.
Sure. Maybe we could get technical and say all of them together is because let's imagine if this was done in Breath of the Wild, it might be like the side quest of the 7 skills. Like, you see where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
So I'm cool with this.
I liked those, and I think I joked before when we were doing our Twilight Princess review episode, but whenever you go into that other dimension and you learn the secret move, I would be like, Dad?
Yeah, you did say that before.
Dad? Is that you, Dad?
The crazy old ghost.
Or I think it's posited that like that's another form of Link.
Link from another game, which is possible, but it's also the reason when I first heard that, I was like, no, it can't be. That zombie thing's like twice as tall as Link. But then I realized, well, wait a second. Technically, if it was another Link, we're playing him when he's about 14 years old, and that individual continued to age, and that's probably him at his 60 or whatever it is as a full-grown adult.
Or maybe it's his dad.
Kate, we have a bit of a technical issue right now. My battery, I don't know why, is at 6%. It was fully charged when we started this episode.
Oh no! All right.
And so I have a cord here. I think I can get it powered in, but I think we have to wrap this episode up.
Let's wrap it up.
Because it is going down fast, and I don't know why. It's
well,
concerning me a little bit.
Thanks y'all for listening. That was about it anyway.
Yeah,
other than like
kind of coming to a
Pose.
close.
There's also Pose. That's it.
Pose in general.
Yeah.
If people want to contribute their ideas on some side quests that they really enjoyed in Twilight Princess specifically, they can find us on Twitter at Another Zelda Pod. Or also we build a Discord on our Discord channel, which you can get to from our website, Another Zelda Podcast. I build a channel in our Discord, I guess, server for each episode, and there's a lot of conversation that goes on there.
Yeah.
People are more than welcome to go to that right now. Also, we'll have a link to that in our episode description right now if you're listening on iTunes or YouTube or wherever, Google Play. And I guess I'll do the others real quick. You can find us on Instagram at Another Zelda Podcast. You can find us on Facebook and YouTube and Google Play and iTunes by searching Another Zelda Podcast. Go to our actual website, anotherzeldapodcast.com, for links to all of our blog posts, show notes, other episodes, and Shane, Kelly, and I are just starting. It's going to take maybe a few months. We're starting to build a store. We're starting to put some merch together, Kate.
Man.
It might be more of a season 3 thing, but I'm so excited. I think it'll be kind of cool. It's going to take a little bit of time, but eventually that'll be there too. Some of it will be like Zelda podcast themed stuff, and maybe we can still kind of vend some Zelda stuff. I don't know. We have artists that we know that maybe can create stuff that we'll put through there. I don't want to jump the gun on all this. We have 5% left on this battery now.
Go, 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 go. All
Kate,
right.
this was really fun.
Yeah, it was.
I have to refrain from going home now and like going
Playing
straight into Twilight
it.
Princess.
I know.
I have editing to do.
It's always on my to-do list forever, honestly.
Well, I'm having a blast with the Twilight HD, the Wii U Twilight HD. Like, I played the GameCube version last season when we reviewed it, but I keep tinkering around in the HD one, and it's really nice to get back in there.
Nice. Hey, on social media, where can people find you?
Oh, at Raptor Paint on Instagram, Twitter, Discord, the whole thing.
All
at
the
Raptor
things.
Paint.
I'm on Instagram at I only take cat pics, which is now false because I also have it up. But anyway.
Oh, she calmed down.
She did.
Interesting.
I think she's occupied now. So.
Got it.
All right. Well, we will see y'all on our next episode. We're going to learn some more about the development of Ocarina of Time.
I'm doing a development episode, kind of like our the Hyrule Fantasy episode last season.
Yeah.
I did some research. And
Dave's going to tell us a story.
Sorry, please. We're both like trying to get out here, aren't we? I'm so sorry. Yep. And it'll be a lot of fun. So, Kate, I'll see you then.
Okay. Bye.